Fine, this one. All right. Okay, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I had to make sure all the audio and video and everything was working. It always kind of makes me confused, but it's cool. It's a learning process. It's fun. I didn't mute myself. 1 second here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had all these windows open. One of them wasn't muted. I have too many screens on my computer. You won't over there. All right, so I'm going to introduce the event, and then I'll introduce our community guest speaker, Emcee. I have a whole bunch of things to talk about. The setup we have starting from last month is we are in the community arts workspace, which is a small office we have in Hacienda Heights where we have an art gallery. There are computers and internet. There's air conditioning. It's always kind of cold in here, which is good. I like it. And the space is for anybody who is a writer, a musician, a choreographer, a comedian, whatever you are, a teacher, you want to work on lesson plans or your syllabi, you can come here and work in silence, have a designated workspace. A designated workspace, especially for art, is so valuable these days because you just need somewhere to get into that space to create. And so our community arts workspace is for that. And it's free. You just send an email to ghost@nervousghostpress.org, and I'll put that information up on the screen one more time. All our socials, Nervous Ghost Press, Nervous Ghosts, Facebook, YouTube is where we are now, and the email's down below on the website, of course. So send an email. Tell me what you're working on. Do you need any technology requirements? We don't have Wi-Fi, but there is a cable, so you just plug in to your laptop if you need it, or again, we have our two computers. And so Nervous Ghost Press is a 501c3 nonprofit arts advocacy organization. And the mission that we have is to provide access to those who need it most, wherever you are, whoever you are, for whatever reason. So many of us need art in many different ways. I'm teaching a course on humanities and the public humanities. It's a fantastic course. We look at what they even are in the first place and from the perspective of being human. And art is our answer for what divides us, what hurts us, what harms us, and art is what saves us. And our voices carry strength. You see that on the screen, on our cool banner. We have a call for submissions out right now. It's been out for a while. We had a couple ads going for I think 2 months at a time, and they expire in April. I want to say April. And so submit work, music, art, writing, poetry, essays, literature, stories, whatever you have, excerpts, translation if you wrote both languages, and send it to, it's not to me, it's on the website. So go to our website, nervousghostpress.org, navigate yourself to the waiting room submission form, send your work in. We have a blind reading process. Nobody knows who anybody is until the work is either accepted or not accepted. It keeps it nice and fair and fun. It's very exciting to see who the names ultimately are and who the work belongs to. And so submit your work. Everybody can submit. I don't care who you are, where you're from, for the next couple months. When we do have a hard deadline, I'll post it on all our social medias. But until then, just keep sending the work. So a little bit about the Community Guest MC program that we have. I got my cool ghost cup here. 1 second. The Community Guest MC program began a couple years ago when we were in person at a local brewery, which was fantastic, a fantastic venue. And it's meant to provide a a seat, if you will, I suppose, at the table of voices. And so if you are someone who is a little bit more reserved and don't like to speak up, use it as practice. You have me as your kind of as your safety net. I'll jump in, I'll say some things. I don't like it too much these days, but I've been finding it kind of fun. It's cool to get out there. But if you have a voice and you want to practice evolving it, being more comfortable speaking, getting more confidence in standing up there in front of a microphone and a bunch of strangers, then this kind of program is yours. If you're someone who wants to share your work and talk about your projects, your process, your art, your background, your experiences get up here. I absolutely enjoy and am thrilled when we have new voices and people coming in who I've never met before, or they've been coming to the open mics here and there, and now they're the host and the MC. It's just it's such a cool thing to see. And so today we have a new friend, a new face, familiar face soon, part of the Nervous Ghost Press community, part of all of our communities, will be our community guest MC and will run the rest of the event tonight. And so please, everybody, welcome Laura. And let's see.
Hi, everyone. My name Laura Sermeño. I go by Laura. I go by Lau. I'm originally from El Monte. That's where I grew up. And I've lived all over LA. I went to UCLA. I've been writing since I was 13, so almost 20 years. I'm super passionate about it. Most recently, I lived on the Pasadena side of the border of Altadena and Pasadena. It was impacted by the fires. It's unfortunate. I have some poetry about place. Wasn't really thinking about a theme, but I have feelings about Altadena and El Monte that I'd love to share with you all. So I'll open us up with a poem about Altadena. It is called Altadena. Don't you love to be strangled into submission by the city you live in? Reclaim your sense of home among ashes. Everywhere I know is gone. I memorized those streets, the winding road to the best school I could find for my son, the steep incline of Lake Avenue, the wildlife that's with me that breathes the same air as a crunchy mom's, where I've deemed perfect enough to raise my son. Nothing is irreplaceable to me as a son, except this place. I told y'all it was Pedazo de Aztlán, Pedazo de Cambio, a city of fictitious design. Why? My paradise was all mine. A los mexicanos a mí me los vas a respetar. Who else do you think is going to rebuild this city? Who you are and what you make of it, where you're from and what you make of it. If I could just get a taste of it the first time I stepped into the foothills of Altadena in high school, I must have been 16, half of my life ago. And I used to go to Pasadena from the poverty-stricken part of El Monte, a 30-minute drive for a single mother for the Whole Foods. My mother had EBT. She gave me $100 a month for food from Whole Foods because I was hung up on being vegetarian. And I'm hungry now for Altadena. For he giveth and he taketh away. I have very little left to say. Build me all the way up and break me all the way down. We will rebuild it. Some say we shouldn't, but this is our land now, our honor. Fictitiously forward, onward, a new future, a life still worth living. And thank you for bearing with me. I'm open to any questions. I'm excited for the Q&A portion, but for now, I'm gonna ask that Marcus share his work with us.
Okay, thank you. That was a great poem. Thank you very much. And I don't know if you knowingly did it, but you quoted from the book of Job. He giveth and taketh away. That's where that's from. Okay, so I wrote a poem, a single poem about well, it starts off at least about a golden Labrador retriever. I moved in with this family and they tried to make this dog an indoor dog, which was not the best idea because labs love to run. So the dog was cooped up, and every time the door was like cracked, that dog would like fly out. He would fly out of the and run up and down the street. And that was really the only time he was ever happy. And I remember it because it was so sad, especially in hindsight. I was like, that poor dog, like, just needed a place to run. He was literally made to run. And so I basically wrote a poem about him, and then I turned the corner, really just using that as an illustration to talk about something that I think is even more important concerning us. So the dog's name was Barney, so I'll just start off. And can y'all hear me okay, by the way? Yes, yes. Hope so. Is there a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? Yes. Okay, great. Okay, toggling back. Okay. I knew a lab of yellow gold who was born to run but forced inside. He had no yard to sprint or race, and they seldom took him for a ride. His only chance was a door ajar, and when he caught that glimpse of light, off like a falcon he'd fly through the screen to seize his hope of solo flight. They tried in vain to chase him down, as none could match his stride and pace, and how he'd smile from ear to ear with such delight upon his face. He'd dance and leap and sway and jump. Surely all would soon agree that without a yard to let him roam, his house was just a jail to flee. If only to feel the wind in his hair, for they forced him to return, back to mope with anxious legs, to sit and stir and dream and yearn. God created this dog to run, so to keep him chained was clearly sin. And when we see an animal trapped, our very hearts should burn within. But what about us? Were we made to walk or run, sing or dance, live or die, to write or read, to sing, to strive, to save or spend, to laugh or cry? How many of us are unsure, living without aim, without any hope, chasing the next distraction down, while all the while just striving to cope? It was sad to see that beautiful lad made to run but forced to stay. But it's sadder still to see a soul that has no heart to seek or pray. Your soul was made in the image of God to walk with him in loyalty. Your soul was meant to bow to Christ and know no other royalty. Your soul was meant to read the word and share it lovingly with all. Your soul was meant to confess your sin and rise again after you fall. That poor old lab was never content until his chance to enter the race. And just the same, you'll never know joy until you know the God of grace. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcus. I did know from the book of Job.
All right.
I forgot to plug, I don't know if we're plugging, but this is my self-published book. It has my face on it. Thought it would
Right
be
on.
called Born to Cry, and I'm working on my second, which I'm excited for. Um, yeah, so super open to talking about self-publishing also. And next up we have Ian. Ian Roy, if you could take it away.
Great. So let me see very quickly. Ian and I are gonna set up the. I'm gonna switch the screen for everybody on YouTube, and then I mute my speakers, and then we turn on so everyone on Zoom can see Ian also. It's kind of a cool, complicated system, but all right, Ian. Let me do what I gotta do here. Studio. All right. Ian, take it away.
I thought I had more time to actively choose what I was going to read tonight. So, thank you for that. Thank you for throwing me in the fire here and making me have to make a decision right now. So I usually do like a couple pieces just from stuff I've enjoyed reading lately. So I'll probably sort of sandwich ones that are not mine around one or two that are. Should only be like a few minutes total. So I'll start off with this one. It's a very short one that is not mine. It is by a poet named John Bannister Tabb. The poem is called The Departed, and everybody on Zoom, can you hear me okay, or do I have to project more? Right on. Okay, right there. Even better. Okay, thank you. Sure. Okay, so this is called The Departed. They cannot wholly pass away, how far they soar above, nor we the lingerers wholly stay apart from those we love. For spirits in eternity, as shadows in the sun, reach backward into time as we, like lifted clouds, reach on. Super short, but enjoyed that. And what am I going to do? All right, I'll do this one. I don't think either of the ones I have today have a title, but this is from maybe like a year and a half ago. I was sort of angry with a friend about a specific situation. So again, a very short one, but each person we love is filled with flaws. To try to solve those is an errand for fools. Despite our best efforts to sync values shared, their paths can hold distorted views. Each one has a chance to grow on, or to risk growing stagnant with mold, while we desperately hope for their sun to rise above the ceiling that they hold. That's it. Straight to the point. And this one, I think I remember it off the top of my head, but this is probably from about a year ago. So I've lived in a few places before LA, and I don't get to see all those friends from other states as much as I would like. Last year, I was very intentional about organizing a trip to Colorado with a group of friends. We had an extended weekend. We rented a cabin. It was in the middle of nowhere. We had a snowstorm during it, making it even better, super isolated. And it was just this really amazing time where we all had to catch up to get to know each other on a deeper level than we had ever had before. So this poem was written in the hot tub we also had in the cabin at midnight as there was snowfall around us. And just, I wish there was snow here, but it's LA, so it's fine. But at least it's still like a winter month. So let me try to remember how this one starts, and then I'll get going here. All right. So a powder white suspended snow upon each branch of evergreen, the only hue in this dark night of blackness that surrounds and droves. And though this frigid midnight air slows this pen with which I write, a tranquil inspiration flows while ticking time is slowed and snared. The winter clings with all its might, snowflakes around my lantern glow, but in these cabin walls we've shared are kindred souls of warmth and light. We isolate and meet to sow new memories from which we gleam a greater bond than what is often found amongst our daily lived routines. So clear the snow, feed furnace flames, gaze the stars, drop timid chains. You'll never know what truly binds until you create this precious time. All right, so that's my second one. Thank you guys, appreciate it. And then I'll end with one that I just read today in the park, and I really enjoyed it. I actually, I'm still in the midst of a Mary Oliver book. I shared a piece from that last time too, but this one was, I just really appreciated reading this one today. So this is called The Swan. My last one, and again, by Mary Oliver. Across the wide waters, something comes floating. A slim and delicate ship filled with white flowers, and it moves on its miraculous muscles, as though time didn't exist, as though bringing such gifts to the dry shore was a happiness almost beyond bearing. And now it turns its dark eyes, it rearranges the clouds of its wings, it trails an elaborate webbed foot, the color of charcoal. Soon it will be here. Oh, what shall I do when that poppy-colored beak rests in my hand? Said Mrs. Blake of the poet, I miss my husband's company. He is so often in paradise. Of course, the path to heaven doesn't lie down in flat miles. It's in the imagination with which you perceive this world and the gestures with which you honor it. Oh, what will I do? What will I say when those white wings touch the shore? All right, so that's it for me. Thank you so much, everybody.
Someone else.
Turn that one, please.
Thank you, Ian. It's a little tough. We can't, snap and clap, but we're doing it in the chat, so you can maybe see that. Let's take it to Ernie Brill. He is reading to us. It's late for him, and he is in New England, he said. Ernie, if
You're
you
on mute, brother.
yourself, Ernie.
All right, let me change something because I need to move my screen very quickly. Turn all of you off. Come back here.
Ernie, can you hear us okay?
Hold on.
We need that microphone button unmuted.
Almost. Ernie, is it working?
How's that?
Yes.
That work?
Yeah.
Okay. Got some short ones. This is from the a series about the Black Lives Matter haikus and others. Haikus flow gently, missing most massacres. The world screams in pain. Immigrant. We clean your toilets, your lawns, your kids too. When we're gone, what will you do? Savages. La Migra rips families, crams kids in cages. Who marches for them? Trayvon Martin, Miami, Florida. I got my Skittles. Gonna see my girl. Hey man, don't point that at me. Tamir Price, Cleveland, Ohio. I like playing here. Bang, gotcha. Bang, bang. Hi, officer. I was just. Then I'm going to read. This is called My Mother's War Story. You young have no idea what it was like. We lived for letters, for the slightest word. I remember one night, I'll never forget it. It was rough times early in the 40s. We heard about your father on the radio. His name was in the news, an article, the storming of Kasserine Pass in Africa, an article by one Glenn McFadden, who turned out to be a A1 phony, describing a raging battle in Tunisia, fighting Rommel, and that Rommel was tough. They said your dad stormed the pass with a machine gun. Such nonsense. He barely knew how to shoot. But there we were, cold January, rationed heat, and they didn't know where he was or how he was, or if he was alive or dead or what. I didn't know what would happen to all of us, to him or all of us. I was always worrying if we could get to Europe soon enough to save those in the concentration camps. That evening, I heard on the radio the Germans had retaken Kasserine Pass. It grew late, colder. I was miserable. I wrapped the one blanket I had tighter and tighter, like when I was a little girl. I won't forget that night as long as I live. And one last one to the Middle East. After the bomb, I went out for pizza and ate all my blood. I went to buy shoes and saw my foot fly through the air. Hold me, mother, for the last time. Hold me. Thank you.
Amazing, Ernie. Thanks for staying up so late to grace us with that. Super cool work.
Thank
My
you.
work I didn't mention, it's intersection of a lot of things. Where I'm from, which is Los Angeles, my identity, which being Mexican American is a big part of that. I also love to talk about love, heartbreak, and radical political sentiments. I'm going to share. I always have the hardest time with titles, so this is untitled. Untitled. Probably the best part of being with you would be parting with you. I have no need for a tool who won't confess false promises anyway. My love for you turned toxic. I had the opposite intention. I must have dropped it. Sometimes it's good for the stories or the writing or the heart, which money knows nothing about. I'm letting you take this year from me. You can have it. It's the only possession you own. And that's that one. I want to. Sorry, just a second. I want to introduce David Cordoba. David Cordoba is from Colombia and his poetry is in Spanish. So please enjoy, David.
Oh, hi, buddy. My name is David Cordova. from Colombia, and I've been in the US since 2005, and currently I study psychology. And my writing, I like to write existential stuff like heartbreak, about love, about the cities, about Los Angeles. And the first poem, I'm gonna read two poems. The first poem is about Los Angeles, and it's called Los Angeles. Okay. En esta ciudad de ángeles caídos encontré Hollywood y sus estrellas estrelladas, los vatos locos del este de Los Ángeles, los rascacielos del centro, la biblioteca central con sus obras clásicas y sus enciclopedias sobre la historia del arte y el hombre. El océano Pacífico con su agua fría y refrescante, Beverly Hills con sus visitantes y sus tiendas lujosas, los barrios aledaños con su diversidad de gente, sus parques verdes y sus grafitos. Las familias salen los fines de semana a contemplar la ciudad. En la playa de Venice, un hippie cuenta una anécdota graciosa que hace reír a todo el mundo, incluso a los visitantes que no hablan mucho inglés, pero entienden los gestos y las muecas del narrador. Y más al fondo se ve un grupo de hip hop callejero haciendo piruetas en el aire. En esta ciudad de ángeles caídos encontré un majestuoso cielo azul, una mezcla de razas, de culturas y de gente, tacos al pastor, sopa de fideos, las montañas, el sol y la playa. Oh, Los Ángeles, tan calurosa y misteriosa, tan llena de vida y laberintos. Gracias, thank you. That's the first one. And I also wanted to mention that 2 years ago, in 2023, I self-published this book called Las Luces Azules, The Blue Lights. And yeah, I printed 100 copies, and I gave it to my friend, my family, and I sold some. I presented in Bell Gardens. So yeah, it was a really great experience for those that, want to do it. Yeah, I recommend it to you. Find a way, just do it. Yeah, just go for it. And the next poem is like about missing somebody and I feeling like in coma, like you are in a coma, like related to. I've never been in a coma, but I guess like you're just there waiting for something to like come back, to wake up. Okay, so it's called Estado de Coma. Eres la música de las almas, una lágrima inesperada, un sueño en estado de coma, el silencio que congela los días enteros. Anhelo tu tibieza, ese aliento fatigado e hiriente, tu mirada impenetrable. Extraño tus múltiples personalidades. Aguardo encontrarme contigo en los lugares que el azar me ha asignado. Estaciones de bus, restaurantes japoneses, cinemas X, blanco y negro, llenos de ruido. Lugares desolados y a la vez pintorescos. Inevitables callejones sin salida. ¿Podrá algún día la casualidad arrojarme a tu presencia? Thank you very much. I appreciate this space for Matthew and like everybody to be here. Thank you so much.
Hermoso trabajo. Good work. Love it. Okay, if we're not putting anyone on the spot, I know we all came here, but sometimes we come late and the order is, an issue for poets as well. But if Julia's ready, we'd love to hear from you.
But let me free. All right, everybody. So, Julie, let me turn on the microphone and the microphone. I'm pretty sure it's that one. All right. Whenever you're ready, Julia, take
hi,
it
everyone.
away.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah? All right, cool. All right, so the name of the song is Happy. I hope you guys like it. The sky no longer holds my eyes. I wonder why I'm sitting in this chair. Nowhere to go but the shelter of the bars. My guitar reflects the dim lights from above, while I wallow at the absence of you. And it's not cool that you're gone, you're still here. Your memory lingers still. Though you're gone, I'm still stuck. You probably moved on, but I'm still here. You made me happy. You made me want. You made me happy. And that's saying a lot. The sky no longer holds the lies of my whispers. Swearing to God that I don't miss you, but I have. After all this time, I remember every corner of your place, every angle of your face, even your fucking taste. Though you're gone, you're still here. Your memory lingers still. Though you're gone, I'm still stuck. You've probably moved on, but I'm still here. You made me happy. You made me want. You made me happy. And that means a lot. The sky no longer holds my eyes. Just the clouds that are too heavy, so they cry, 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 and the ground is getting so wasted from the endless back and forth pacing, inebriated by precipitation. Though you're gone, you're still here. Your memory lingers still. Though you're gone, I'm still stuck. You've probably moved on, but I'm still here. Thank you. Oh, I do have that song out on Apple Music and Spotify. It's called Happy. Thanks.
I want to know if it's just under Julia or your last name. Maybe
Yeah, my last name is Gaitan, Gaytan.
Gaitan. I'll put that in the chat in a sec. David inspired me to read an all Spanish poem that I have. It is called Menstruación. Venimos de la sangre, a la sangre regresaremos. Que no se te olvide que siempre vendrás de la mujer. Que nunca te perdonen las mujeres que has hecho sangrar. Y si te da asco la menstruación, a mí me da asco tu existir. Cuando la sangre se mezcla con la de mamá al nacer, realicemos el poder del femenino. Nacemos, sangramos, crecemos y volvemos a la sangre de la tierra. En una palabra, la sangre es infinito. And our next reader is Emcee. If you're ready to go, take it away.
All right, Emery, while you're getting ready, oh, here we go. Okay, so everybody, while we're getting ready over here in the studio, just wanted to remind everybody that at the very end, we're going to have a Q&A with everybody. And I think last time, Ian can remember, we had people chat over there. You can't, that's where well, you can see them. Let me turn them off. Let me turn you two off. Where is it? Studio. There we go. We had people kind of walk back and forth. And so I switched the video like I did last time or like I'm doing now. But I think this time I'll move. And if someone in here is going to answer a question, they could just sit where I am. And then it's like this. I think, right? I think this might be because this one is clearer. And we'll just do it the normal big zoom screen. I think that can work. What do you think? Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, we'll do it that way. I think it'll be fine. Maybe I need to buy another camera or two or something. Have like a whole bunch of cameras there. That'd be cool. It'd be like a whole news system. All right, so you two are ready. Let me turn myself off and turn you on, everybody. This is Emery. Here we.
Testing. Hi. Okay. Hello, guys. I'm Emery. I will be performing a song. Well, I'll be covering a song that's called Aquí Te Espero. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah. ¿Quién crees que eres usted maltratándome así? Piensas que soy pendeja haciendo todo por ti. No te aproveches de mí, sabes que tienes poder, tú tienes todo el control, yo casi no puedo ver. Tú sabes muy bien lo que es, te encanta destruirme. Nadie va a entender, nadie va a poder cambiar lo que yo siento por ti. Nadie va a entenderme y qué bonito es amarte y puedo besarte. No me importa que piensen y me llamen loca por pensar que regresas. Me tienes dando vueltas por tu amor, por tu amor. Me muero por ti, todo fue por ti. Porque te olvidaste de mí. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Quiero olvidarme de ti. Y aquí te espero, donde nuestra historia terminó, donde nuestro barco se ahogó, cuando sale nuestra parte 2. Y aunque sea mentira, tu amor te esperaría todo el tiempo en el mundo. También mentí cuando te dije que no sentí nadita por ti. Cuando te fuiste de mi vida, lloré por ti. No me importa
That was super cool. Great voice. I love that. Matthew, how's the audio on your end?
So this is part of the struggle that we're in. Is it works and it goes almost where I'm trying to get it. And Brian and I were working on solutions to make it louder, but we're getting there.
Okay, no worries. So we can hear each other. I know Marcus sent us a message.
Yeah, so it gets lower, it gets high, but I think it's okay. And then over the next month, I'm gonna experiment with more stuff. We experimented with this little cool, I don't know what it's called, like a booster. It's kind of interesting, and it wasn't the greatest experiment, but the next experiment will be will be nice. Also, very quickly before I give it back to everybody watching and everybody in here, there are more people in here now. It's kind of neat. If you have questions for the Q&A, for the discussion, type them, email them, text them, and I'll start us off with one when we get there, and that'll be a cool way. And then Laura, it's all you. So thank you for being here. Thank you, and let's keep going.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing your talents. I'm glad. I'm sure I'll be back just to be a viewer next time. So super excited to make these connections. If D'Angela is ready, we would like to hear you next.
Hi. Hello, everyone. All right. I'm so happy, Emcee and Julia, that I've heard you all both before in person, because it was a bit of a challenge to hear the music on this end. But very happy that I have heard you all before. So I know you all sounded fantastic. Okay, so happy to be here. I'll read this one. It's a working title, and the working title is A Trust. Cool down, way round. It's uptown funk. The beats be knocking the jammy jam from Sylvester's to Fort Knox. Shabby done nail beds, queens on Marlboros, tiptoe dance in that dress and let me see your silhouette. You jiving. Sick the hounds on him before sundown. He ain't got no business round these parts of town. He done gone upside. She done run upright. She done went uptight. Charleston running for blood. Coffee cake crumbling as the bakers butter up. Burnside down, pick a nigga turnover cake. He done shook. Ran off 8:15. Stop lying. Stop from lying. Pray for time. He probably over in them pickaninnies wayward town. Sunday come running up 4:15. Chivalry done went up tight. Chivalry done went up right his head. Flattery hanged dead. Fetch a tow truck and a couple of phone books. Prairie Lane done roasted another Negro. Hieroglyphic. I counted 3 poles and 1 stone. In the crowd I heard, that's the way the wind blows. West of the pines, atop the canyons, between the mountains, where I used to go. Now it ain't no more. Not a trace left of my footprint in the ashes I used to call home. All right, that's number 1. Then we'll do this one called Paradise, which I believe I've read in this space before. All right. Paradise is all what it seems. Unicorns dancing on balance beams, daringly, dreams mounted up high on angels' wings with no suspicion of time. I watched 2 doves set sail for a cloud shaped like bunnies' tails bouncing around the fair fields. I have not seen one caution or warning sign in paradise. No place is broken. All spaces are open, exposed for the unspoken to be revealed. It is where I come to heal and kneel, laying out all my imperfections in perfect order. With no sanctioned borders, no motions or gag orders, I am here to release. The breeze pushes out the tyranny, and suddenly, no paid promoters. I am who I am, no decoder. I have good luck here. In fact, I am always traveling uphill because even down yields a lesson and rewards a blessing for the sincere. Concealed in the eye of the daffodil are the anecdotes. Among the lilies, I cannot be gray. In paradise, the sun shines every single day, and I in the road. Thank you.
Wow. So
Yeah.
incredible work. I love that. Okay, so I will be jumping in with another poem here. And so my next reader is not taken caught too off guard. Aurelio, get ready. You're coming on after me. I will be reading El Monte. It's a little bit of a diss poem to the city that I'm from, but I think you'll understand by the end of it why. Here we go. El Monte. It was a city I didn't want to know. El Monte was my own personal hell. El Monte. I never wanted to know this country, being born here and never being from here. Everything I know, I wish to know less. They named the one cool bar Progress, the opposite of what you get in El Monte. At Progress Brewing, you progress from 1 DUI to 2. I looked down on the city because I was too much of it. My mom moved us 13 times before I turned 18. Much of that in any apartment complex that would accept us. I met all the roaches in El Monte. I met enough gangsters, EMF. I met the cops enough times too, EMPD. I met suicidal ideations and delusions of grandeur in El Monte. Some fools think they can romanticize anything, even the ghetto. But if I didn't hate my ghetto, I would have never left. If I didn't dream of escape, I would have never survived. If I didn't tell my friends about my plans to transcend, they'd be stuck behind. They are stuck behind. I'm stuck on time, trying to unwind, trying to remember reasons to appreciate, reasons to salute my city, reasons to claim it, fool. I don't owe you fool shit. El Monte wants me to claim it, not me it. Thank you, Aurelio, if you could.
Oh, wait. All right. I hope I'm not too loud. Gonna read. Hopefully I can get through 2 poems. But they're not too long. They're both about love, but I guess a different kind of love. Kissing lips sincerely, touching skin sensually. I hold you, you hold tighter, and the night becomes a living fire. Skin to skin, sweat to sweat. Our eyes meet and our hearts connect. There's no words left to say that has not been conveyed. I love you, she says to me, as do I, for infinity. That's one of them. So here's my next one. I trust in you to see me through in the darkness that I created. I know it's you, the one that's true, love elated that never faded. I feel it growing, so I sing to you the one true word, love embrace in his arms of grace. Yeah, I'm not that, I don't write too much, so yeah. That's it. Sorry, it was so short.
Oh, don't worry about that. That's great. I love short poems as well. I'm trying to challenge myself to write the really long ones. So whoever has been reading the long ones, I think D'Angelo had a long one. I love those. They're great. Please. Okay, so next we have Juan Amador, if you're ready to go.
All right. All right, so here we go. Now I'm talking. All right, so we're setting up. I think this is the last one. Is this the last person in here? In here today. So after this, Laura, then it'll only be on Zoom, and until we get to our Q&A, which is cool. And I promise I'm gonna figure this out. This is a cool problem. I'm gonna solve it. I like solving problems. All right, Juan, let me turn myself off and turn you on. You are on. Audio for you is on, and I am out of here.
Cool. Hey, did you hear me? Yeah? Awesome. You guys? Yeah? Awesome. Hi. So my name is Juan Amador. This is my first poetry book. My first baby. It's called Pip in My Trauma. And yes, I have some copies available in person. And for you guys out there, it's available on, you can order on Right of Roses Publishing House, which is my publisher. And yeah, I got some poems for you guys. And this first, it's a haiku, and it's called a Catholic haiku. Here we go. I am Catholic. I'm always guilty of shit. Drown me in whiskey. Thank you. And this next one is a brand new haiku. It's about me trying to get attention to a cat. Yeah, just trying to communicate with a cat. And it's called Psst, Psst. Here we go. Hear me out, gato. I'm reaching out to you. You are a dickwad. Thank you. Yes, it's a very complex relationship I have with the cat, so yeah. But I'm trying. This last piece is from my book. It's called Men from the Same Womb. Here we go. We came from the same womb. He was rebellious, this brother of mine. Always let me know what's right and what's wrong. He was a punk man, a vegan man, a hardcore man, a straight edge man, a metal man, a boot boy man, a feminist man, a communist man, an atheist man, and a ladies' gentleman man. He was a man I aspired to be. He took me under his wing. He was hard on me to be his mini me. Despite living under the same roof, we had a different past. 6 years apart, but the world changed so fast. I became the depressed man, anxious man, misanthrope man, denial man, confused man, lost man, poser man, theatrical man, poetic man, and now medicated man. Left me with the question, who am I, man? I always had the urge to call him and tell him, you pissed me off, man. You lied to me, man. You betrayed me, man. You left me behind, man. You should have been there every time when I needed you, man. And I wish I could kill your friends so I could punish you, man. But you don't deserve any of this shit. You've been through enough already. And I witnessed it. I know why you want to leave home so early. And no matter how many times you praise me, compliment me, embraced me, uplift me, champion me, I'm still jealous of you, man. Because you have a past, man. You have a future, man. You live in the present, man. You are a teacher, man. A counselor, man. A husband, man. Now, a father, man. And I'm still floating around like a feather. None of this is your fault. So why the fuck am I still angry at you? How many times I wish I could call you on the phone to tell you your little brother's in crisis. Come home, man. But you got a life, and I shouldn't interfere. At the same time, I don't want to feel the need to need you. I could do this on my own, so you won't be my caregiver. But 20 years from now, I might be proven wrong. I'm stuck, man. And every time I hear your voice on the phone asking me, hey, man, how have you been? I always lie by telling you, good, man. But I wish you knew, man. I wish I allowed you to know, man. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
All right, y'all, we're getting to the end. I have one more reader, I believe. It's going to be Rachel. I will leave you all with my last poem, and it's a short one. It's called Getting Hurt on Purpose. Sounds like that thing they call love. Getting into a casual relationship, fucking your friends, calling people you fuck friends. Demented. What stings more than self-abandonment? I got you to do the dirty work for me. Abandon me on my behalf. Your beauty is tiring.
Mm.
All right, Rachel.
Thank you, Laura. Hello everyone. My name is Rachel Ruiz. I currently reside in the city of Alhambra, which is in the San Gabriel Valley. Tonight I'll be reading two things that I wrote. I believe I read these in person. I don't recall if I read any of these online. But here we go. The first one is titled Divided Bros. Always there, always got each other's back. They say family is all we got, so then start acting like it. Too stubborn like a hard gray stone, across the green grass lays a heart you can't seem to feel, that loves you deeply. But you can't see it, you can't feel, 'cause deep inside, a rage is coloring your heart into ash. But deep down, I know through the stubbornness, you both love and care. Ego can be dangerous, just as hate and rage can be dangerous. Whatever happened to that saying, you once told me family is all we got? Where's that same mindset you had when you said it publicly to me? I know it's been like a war between you two. Trust when I say this. You'll regret it or not, but in the long run, it will eat both of you alive. Till one day it'll be too late to say I love you. Too late to hug it out, and too late to be the two living brothers I know you both are. Okay, that one is that, and then the next one I'll be reading is titled Love at a Distance. Yeah. So, it was a Sunday afternoon. You picked me up at noon. We were headed on time on the highway I-5. It was 1:09 p.m. Practice What You Preach was on the radio. You loved me at a distance. Your love is not the same. Coming from a broken heart, did you ever feel the pain? Memories appear. Watching all my friends, father-daughter dance. No one to hold my hand. No one to hold my hand. Stood underneath the disco ball, reflecting lights. Against the wall, like a lost girl, without direction in her world. You loved me at a distance. Your love is not the same. Coming from a broken heart, did you ever feel the pain? I would say, coming from a broken heart, I hope you never felt the pain. that I felt. And that's all. Thank you, Laura.
Super cool work, Rachel. I love it. I used to live in Alhambra briefly. I'm from the San Gabriel Valley.
Cool.
You heard about me too. Okay, so I think Matthew, you're going to start us off with our first Q&A question.
Yes. So before I start the Q&A, everybody think of your own questions. Think of conversations. I enjoy having Q&A kind of conversations where everybody just chats with each other about art, process, about everything. And so while I set up the camera situation, I'm putting up the connect screen again for everybody to reach out to us, email us. If you want to be the next community guest MC, ask me, and I always say yes. Share your work, share your art, share who you are, yourself, your voice, everything. Follow us on all the social medias. Do the, I don't know, liking and subscribing that everybody always talks about. Not really sure what that is, but for everybody on Zoom, very quickly, if you're doing something weird, stop it, because now everybody's going to be visible. For everybody in the studio, if you don't want to be on camera for YouTube, just kind of scoot more toward me where I am or toward the wall by the door. Otherwise, you'll all be visible. So let me go to that screen. I think it's this one. Wait, hold on. I got to do this first. That was just Laura's face. Here we go. And I did the thing I always do. I need to turn myself off first. Where am I? Turn myself off. Deactivate. There we go. Turn myself on Zoom. Okay, here we are. And now we're all here. Perfect. All right, so my first question, and then audio should be good, is for everybody. So one thing that I've been chatting with my students about this semester is the humanities about human, and our focus is art this time around, but art for the public good. And how can we use art for good? So a lot of us, at least myself, I use art for myself personally when I'm going through hard things, nightmares, horrible stuff, and then I use it to make myself feel better, and it's very selfish. But how can we use art for others, for our communities to grow, evolve, and heal? So just very quickly, one example is I'm writing a play. I started writing a play a couple weeks ago, and I've had this idea for, I don't know, like 3 years for this play. I had a character in mind, the story, but I didn't quite do it. Life was going on the last couple months, and I was just feeling down, and I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna start writing the play. So I sat down, got some whiskey, and just started writing. And then I felt better. But I started thinking too, how will other people read this play? And I usually don't think about that. I don't think about the audience so much as I'm going to write my piece. I'm writing my poem. I don't care what you think about. It's mine. And if I do in some way think about you, it's going to be the way I want you to react. I'm going to control the speed in which you read the words and so on. I'm going to have all the power. But I was thinking of this play when I was writing it, and if the power and everything was yours. And it was interesting, but I felt good. I felt better. All the kind of monsters, they put on the paper. So for everybody, how can we use our own personal stories, our own personal art for good? And then let me know if you're chatting from here so I can turn myself off so we don't have the feedback stuff. All right, whoever wants to go. And then after this, Laura, you run it if you want, but always throw it back to me if you need to.
Okay, so we're asking other folks if they have questions. I do have a couple. They're kind of quick. We can start off with two. I wanted to ask David, when did you come to the US from Colombia?
Yes, so I came to the US, to Los Angeles in December of 2005 when I was 20 years old. Now I'm 39, so yeah, long time ago. No, yeah, a few years back.
Almost, what, 20 years ago then?
Almost 20 years ago, yes.
Wow, okay. And then a quick question for Ernie. It was, how long have you been writing for? Or when did you start?
When I was 12, I had a vision on the BMT subway in New York City. because I just come from the circus, Barnum Bailey Circus, and there were all these characters on the train, man, and people, all these people, like it was like United Nations on the subway car, you know, these Italian guys with dirt on their boots, and um, Chicana women, Puerto Rican women coming from the sweatshops, and then there was this Irish guy with like yellow pants and an orange shirt and a green top hat, and he started singing this song when Irish Eyes is smiling, and I heard this voice, and it said, "You're to write the stories of these people in your city." And I was from Brooklyn. I said, "Does that include the Bronx? Because I was a big Dodger fan, and the Yankees were like the mortal enemies. We had a kid in our building in the projects who
How long ago was that?
tortured.
When you were 12? How long
When I
ago?
was 12 was 1957. That was the same year that my grandpa found a relative we thought had died at Auschwitz, teaching Hebrew school in Scotland. So we brought her back to Brooklyn for the Passover Seder, and someone put a pink taffeta dress on her, and she never recovered her weight from the camp. So it was like the skeleton in a dress, man. Weird. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
so I've
did
been writing since then. A long time.
quick math. That's 57 years.
Huh?
I did the quick math and it's 57 years
How's it? Oh, 57 from when? Yeah,
from
57.
from when the year you told me.
Wait a second. 57, 40. No, it's more.
Is it more?
Yeah, it's 57, 43, 2000, 25,
68.
68. Yeah, 68 years. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a writing fool. That's the way it is. You hear the voices, right? How about you all? I hear the voices. What we got?
I wanted to ask Laura, what made you start writing? What made you begin writing poetry and stuff?
I don't quite remember. I really just like writing. So I like everything, like essays. I was just really good at essays and academic stuff, I guess, like schoolwork. And then I just remember when I was 13, I started writing poetry. I guess I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna write some of this. But I was doing haikus, or like extremely short, 3 little lines. And I just remember being a teenager, and I grew up during the emo phase. So I remember those poems being extremely sad and depressing. So maybe way worse than um, some of my sad poems now. But I was just inspired by what I was going through as a teenager. Like, we grew up really poor. Like my family life was difficult, and I just didn't know how to express myself. But I vividly remember stuffing the poems into a shoebox. So I already knew like I needed to hide. And then for the most part, I would say 13 to 30, like those poems didn't really see, like all the production of didn't really go anywhere, I guess. So I was hiding my poems still until recently.
How'd you put the book together?
Then I put the book together, and the book is spanning 10 years. So since I have the date here, like I don't know how, 2012 to 2022.
There you go.
And in 2012, I was 19. So from 19 to 29. These are like the best of, there's a lot more writing. So, but what was your question, Ernie?
Oh, when you were in high school, did you have any books by like Latino or Chicana, Black American writers? Did they have them in your courses? I'm always curious about that. Because it seems there's a lot of lip service to that, but in a lot of schools, it's not happening.
I had some really radical teachers. So I read like Howard Zinn in my AP US history class. what was another really I mean, I read 1984 in Animal Farm.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of what the poetry was in English was a lot of white writers. But I like
Double?
on my own, I read Sandra Cisneros since I was a kid. On my own, I read like Toni Morrison. I read Maya Angelou on my own. And then I was super into English, so I started I took English 101 when I was a high school freshman. So I took the assessment. I got into English 101 and I took the class with a bunch of adults. And I was reading at that level. So I read a lot of I just always had a passion for English, but the people of color in those, yeah, there wasn't much. Maybe Toni Morrison was probably in my college class.
And now you think it's
And
changed?
Malcolm X when I was 16 years old and different like radical things like that.
Oh, I just wanted to interject.
It's reverberating a little bit.
Interject just because I think that exactly what Laura was saying right now is so important. Like going back to Matt's question about how can we use like, you know, art for good. I think that providing those counter stories, oftentimes in spaces where, you know, certain marginalized communities
don't have so much of, you know, exposure in certain academic fields and things like that. Like, you know, providing, you know, honest works about our realities in our communities. And as we know, you know, it's different. Like not every person of color has the same experience. So being able to write honestly about some of the things that we see in our communities, that we see, you know, in the world, and even as simple as like writing a love poem, and just to see that continuity of emotions throughout human history, and being able to relate to was something that was written like hundreds or thousands of years ago, and to know that spirit experience of being a human being is something that we could all relate to on a human level. So for me, the goodness in creating art is, you know, human expression. We're here to live. We're here to feel, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a quote unquote political poem. Art is political at its very base. So I mean, that's kind of like some of the ideas I kind of had with everything that's been shared so far. And I think that, you know, just being able to create is doing good, putting good out in the world. That's all.
A lot going on that's wrong. And there's a lot of poets who write about what's wrong. And then sometimes they find a hard time to getting published. Because everybody wants everything to be nicey. And that ain't the case, you know? Like I did those Black Lives Matter haikus because so many people were getting killed. Every day I looked in the paper, there was somebody else, you know? And couldn't stand it.
Yeah, I feel like I write things that you probably wouldn't get to read if it was published. Like if I had a publisher, they would completely alter, you know, maybe there are some shitty poems. I've read so much Bukowski, and Bukowski has 80% bad poems and 20% good ones. And why can't I be a mediocre brown writer and it's just like you're reading my diary, but I feel like to really show every aspect of my life is a radical thing because I'm a brown woman. So I'm not like ashamed of even some of the dumbest or whatever. Nobody should really see this. I feel like even the mistakes are things that are worth for other students or, you know, people, whatever, students, readers, to understand that just writing is enough. Like, and that's why I don't like to appeal to like a publisher or I don't want to dilute whatever it is that I'm doing.
And we shouldn't have to. And part of, I think, why I enjoy having these conversations with all of you and with people in every month. And oh, very quickly, the next one is March 29th. I wrote it on my March 29th. But part of, yes, is we shouldn't have to censor ourselves. We should be able to tell our stories the way it's told, the way we say it, period. it's real, it's us, it's ours, and it should be shared regardless of anything. And I hope that by being part of these events and growing our communities, we can continue to have that kind of confidence and conviction in our voice, the way that our voice is, because it's ours and where it comes from our experiences, from our hopes and dreams, our nightmares, our beliefs, and so on. And so I just want to say that very quickly. Ernie, I think you were going to say something.
I just wanted to say, one of the best presses in the country is right there in L.A., Tiachuca. Right, am I saying it right, Tony? Luis Rodriguez?
Yeah, Chucha.
Yeah, Tiachuca and Nomi Press in Northern California. And they take radical poets. They take poets where a lot of people wouldn't. And then all these literary magazines all of a sudden saying, we want biopic, whatever the term is now. We want biopic writers, you know. So I got a lot of white friends of poets that say, I'm white and I can't get published. I said, bullshit. The stat is 1% of the books in the country are by writers of color. And 1% of the books published are by writers from other countries other than white United States and England. But in my lifetime, I've seen the presses, small presses grow because I supported a lot of them. And you know about Cave Canem, the black press, had all these black writers because they weren't getting published. So they got together and they said, we're going to form our own organization. Screw it. And they have 500 writers now. They started out in 1996. And this stuff is fantastic. They got stuff about lead belly. They got stuff about, things that have happened in the black community. Like, the murders of the police, of a number of, Trayvon Martin, like, some of the people I mentioned. And so it's a good time for that. But at the same time, they want to dismantle stuff. They're going after this whole thing about, the California legislature passed a bill saying every high school in California has to have an ethnic studies class, right? And that's a great, great victory that it wasn't happening. When I was in high school, we were all only white writers. There's no Toni Morrison. And then there were black writers. So, I'm going to be 80 in June. So I've been like pitching my whole life for this. And so you need to know who's the country. It's not just you. It's not a mayonnaise jar. Let's say. You think it is, but it ain't.
All right, yeah, no, Ernie, absolutely. And very quickly, I'm going. Is it over there? All right, I'm gonna turn that off. I really, at some point, need to figure out a system so that I can bounce back and forth. But Julia's gonna say something. Let me turn off myself and turn.
I just wanted to say too, along with what was being said right now, just the ability of people nowadays to be able to self-publish and to be able to really market themselves on social media is offering so many outlets for those, those stories to be out there, that those poems that publishers might not be, one at the moment based on their publishing house, or those stories that might be a little bit too risque or whatever it is for any reason. There's avenues, for our voices to be heard. And that's why I think these spaces like this are so important, like these art collective spaces, that we let each other know and that we share our work and that our voices are heard. Because so often, like certain stories aren't told. So we just have this like Eurocentric narrative of this is how life is in the US, those unilateral ways of looking at society. And it's just, I think that luckily, like sometimes when you come from like certain areas, you learn to be resourceful and you learn to kind of build community and do things of that sort. So, I think that it's definitely important, like, yes, in the academic scene to have exposure to like those counter stories. And I also think it's important to be able to show our students that they have different, ways of being vehicles of change and having agency in their own word and process as artists. So, yeah, that's all.
Thank you. There's so many buttons I have to push over here. Oh my gosh. But but
Go on.
so something that everybody reminded me of is about, and it's kind of what I think about often when I was in school. Is just like everybody, we read a certain amount of writers, and then where are the writers that kind of tell the stories that we have? And when I read The Republic of East LA by Luis Rodriguez for the first time,
Yeah.
was when I
Now we're
really,
talking.
really kind of saw. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I know what that street is. I know who that, not that person, but I know someone in my life who's that person, and it was really
That's
cool
good.
to see it. And so when now in my role, when I speak with students and when I speak with us, is it's us. So when we're thinking about where are the writers that look like us, it's us. And we got to go out there and we have to believe in our voices and get out there and publish it. And Nervous Ghost Press exists for that reason. And write our stories and believe our stories and share our stories and come to places like this and not care about whether we're going to offend somebody, because who do we even want to associate with if they're offended by who we are? There's a right, just it's my story. If you don't like me, then the door's over there. Go ahead and kick rocks. And so we tell our stories and we own our stories and we love our stories, and then our communities grow and we become stronger for it. And I think that is how and where people can go, oh my gosh, man, I know that fool too. This is awesome. And then we can grow our communities and people can show up to spaces like this one. And maybe someone gets inspired and says, hey, Matthew, I saw you on that YouTube thing. I totally have all this equipment you can use that will be perfect. Right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe somebody. I don't know. Does anybody,
If somebody-
Rachel, David, Angela, have something to share? If you have ideas, or Juan, Emery, Ian.
No, yeah, like you were saying, like these spaces like create community, and like because sometimes like writers or artists in general, sometimes they isolate themselves and they don't share their voices. And I think sometimes, like we writers, sometimes we find some like we want to be published, but I guess now we have our spaces like Instagram, or people use TikTok or blogs or like a YouTube channel. Like me personally, I have like a little YouTube channel, and sometimes I make videos and stuff. And I guess that's how you get to our people. Like I guess it's not the intention or like being famous or anything like that. Just getting your voice out there and maybe get an audience or somebody will listen to your message and they will relate to it. I guess that's the intention. And like maybe you can do something good if somebody relates to you, write a poem about you are sad or you are going through something really hard, and then those words are like become some kind of medicine for somebody else. And I guess that's what it's all about, or part of it, I think.
Okay, all right. I gotta turn myself off, turn you on. Guys, there's so many things. It really is. I'm like losing my mind over here. All right, go ahead.
Oh, cool. Yeah, just like everyone's saying, just being available for everybody. From my view, it's just being brutally honest with your truth. I guess there's a lot of people that want to admit of their own truth. My truth is, I experienced sexual trauma at a young age as a little boy, and for that, from my community, it's unheard of. It should not be spoken about because they'll see you as lesser than, and they see you as a weakling. And because of that, you feel like you should be silenced, not say anything about it, but it just really it drowns you through your whole life. And by actually just admitting it and sharing it to the world on the stage to everybody, it's a moment of relief, of exorcism. And yeah, you'll find people that really relates to you, and for them it's also like it also get inspired of sharing their stories. So that's what I have to say about that.
You've been the holder. I've been the clicker. All right. Anybody else?
Thanks, man. You said that takes guts. Takes guts to say that.
Ooh, I thought of a question. As for anybody, for everybody, and this is for everybody here, but just let me know if you're here so I can do all the buttons. But when you have something that is so with some of the projects I'm working on, it's getting us to that kind of that place we don't want to go. And I talk about this all the time, but we all have that place we don't want to go from, that place we've been that wasn't where we should have been, and so on. And then we pick up the pencil and we have this intention to write about it because we're supposed to write about it because it'll make us feel better because it's therapeutic. But from our brain to the pen or to the keyboard, it's terrifying, and I don't want to do it, and I know what I'm going to feel like. And when I'm writing that sentence, that next word, I know already that next word is going to make me go to that other thing, and I don't want to get there. And then we're writing something that's protecting ourselves instead of doing what we set out to do. So when all of you are writing the heavy stuff, how do you get yourself into the place to actually sit down and write about the heavy stuff instead of turning it into a joke, making a comedy, writing about something else, disassociating, and so on? Because I know sometimes I sit down and I'm like, all right, I want to write about this thing, and I write about something totally different, and then I sit there and I'm like, you did it again. So how do you get to the place where you can comfortably, maybe not comfortably, write about that heavy stuff? All right. Ooh, we have a person here. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Okay, turn you off and turn you on and turn me off. Okay, ready, go.
I would say by having the power to express through different, okay, how do I say, instead of like turning it into a joke, or instead of making it something that everybody could do. I feel like some people just want to put in the power, the dedication, the time, the effort into what they feel would come out as something new, and that they can treasure themselves years later on when they look back to that one situation they had in their life. Like, I don't know, a depressing situation, a traumatic situation, a terrifying situation. Like, I feel like in the end, what they could do is just go back to it, personally think about it, and then just see that as I did that. I created that. Instead of it just being a joke, I feel like they could see it as that's my creation that I just did right there. So I would say it like that.
Yeah. And I'll say that the first words that come in my mind whenever I set them heavy, first verse is fuck it, just go for it. And it's something that I had to get it out. It's like a vomit. I had to vomit all this all the toxicity I have inside. It just out there, let the whole world know. And it's a moment that I knew for a fact that after writing this heavy piece, this heavy material, I felt this weight of my shoulder just wander off, and I feel great about it. And and it might terrify people, like, holy crap, you went there. But with me, I was just like, I finally did it, man. I did it. Now it's your turn. And that's what I have to say about that. Oh yeah, Julia.
Yeah, like for me, like I feel like most of my life I spent avoiding emotions, and I did that various different ways, fill in the blanks. But I think that as I got older and got in more, an acceptance of circumstances and emotions, and when I'm in that space to sit down and write, I mean, one of the biggest points of advice that people who read my work gave me was, you need to talk more about yourself. It's just so detached, it's just so general. Like, where are you? Where's your voice? And for me, it was like very easy to hide behind the flowery language and the metaphor and the simile and not just say straight out, like, this happened and this hurt, And I think it's only really happened in the last few years where I've really incorporated like life experiences into my written work. And it's been scary. And I first started with talking about it like in the third person, because I didn't want to own it. I didn't want to own, this is how I reacted to life. I didn't want to own, these are the type of experiences that I had, whether I put myself in them or not. I didn't want to be associated to a lot of those things I lived, because I didn't want to be judged. And And I think that I really grew as a person when I was able to really just say, yeah, these, I'm kind of went through these things, and hey, like I'm still cool. And it was like more like of a self-acceptance. And I think that once it got put on paper, I started accepting myself more and who I was in a totality, versus just like, that edited life that we like to show on the screen, or, like when people first meet us and, first impressions kind of thing. But I'm lucky to have had friends, one in this room that has known me since I was 12 and like has seen everything, and, when you have that type of acceptance and love in your life, I think it becomes easier to really show yourself out, to the real world.
All right, I'm gonna throw it back to Ernie. 1 second, Ernie. Let me turn you on, and then I have a final question for everybody. All right, Ernie. Oh wait, D'Angelo, are you after? No, yeah, maybe, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, I'll respond after Ernie does.
All right, Ernie.
I've had this I'll show you attitude. When I was 18, I worked on a cancer ward as a part of a work-study college, and they didn't tell me that I'd be working on a terminal cancer ward. So I was taking care of this guy who had, rectal cancer and a broken elbow and incontinent 4 or 5 times a shift. And I got help luckily and I said, okay, all these freaking doctor shows, the doctor is the father and he's screwing the nurse, and you don't see anybody else. Everybody else is totally invisible. And I made it my mind. I'm going to show you a story, and you're going to smell it, and you're going to see what thousands of people go through cleaning up this stuff. The hospital is so white, the sheets and blah, 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 blah. And a couple of times I was on a big strike at San Francisco State in 1968, and that story still hasn't been told. So I've been writing on that. We struck for 4 months, 7,000 arrests, and we got a whole school of ethnic studies up there. It's been going for over 50 years. And what I do is I use music. I have music as a pool around me. So I have this room, the circular room of the music. I go into the music, and then I can deal with the painful stuff, because that's like a sort of soothing ocean that I'm in, and shuts out the rest of the world. Helps the hard stuff come out. I recommend that a lot. Your favorite piece of music.
Thank you, Ernie. D'Angelo?
Yeah, I think, we all know this. Everybody's writing process and intention for writing, motivation, inspiration for writing is so different. So for me, like as some of you were speaking, like I don't know if I'm trying to think of a time where I sat down in terms of like writing for art's sake, that I sat down and said, I'm going to write something heavy. You know what I mean? I think that's that the language I not used in that way, but in some ways, those parts of me are always accessed because of the freedom and the trust to sort of say, like, however this comes out, I trust that. I trust that if this comes out as comedy, if this comes out in a metaphor, if this comes out in this other way, is it coming out in my authentic voice though? And if that is penetrating through, that is the success of the piece, of the work. So I think a lot of it has to do with freedom and trust, and trusting that. So in acting and improv and any sort of performance, like you want to use what you're coming in with that day. So whatever use that to your benefit, use that to inspire your work that day. And so if you show up and, maybe something has been funny in your day, or your day has been exhaustive, or whatever that intention is to write, however you focus yourself to write, is going to be so different for all of us. But I think just being authentic in that moment and then letting that come out. We can always go back and rework things. We can workshop things, say, hey, can you listen to this? Can you read that? So yeah, there's just so many different ways, but I think what I wanted to add was the trust and the freedom to sort of not judge how that thing is coming out, because there's always so many more times around the wheel that you can, get to the heart or the core of whatever it is that you're trying to say.
Thank you, D'Angelo. Now I gotta throw it to Ian. I saw you in the corner. Hold on. Wait. Well, I turn my stuff off. Here we go. Wait, I gotta turn you on. I wish there was just one button I could press. All right, Ian.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I think some thoughts came to mind that were just shades of what D'Angelo and Ernie talked about, and there's definitely sort of segments of you that you carry across everything. So, loss will be imbued into other things you're writing about in the future. Traumas will be imbued into other things you're writing about in the future. For me, it's always been difficult to go back, and this is very different because just as people write songs differently, as D'Angelo was talking about, like some people, I was thinking about both of you, where like some people are good at jamming out a song and then they have this like whole idea. Other people need to be locked in a room for, days to come out with like this perfect piece because they're sort of like a solo writer and they don't want to bounce ideas off of other people. And for writing, I find it difficult to go back to a specific moment because I'm trying to recall as much as I can, and I have to go through a process of like creating an environment with music, as Ernie talked about, being by myself and away from friends and loved ones for like a day or two to try to access that and just like live in it again. And now, more recently, just starting to write like over the last few years, is like I want to word vomit when something happens. That's the moment where I need to get everything on paper. It will turn into pieces later. But like the first poem I ever wrote was like the very last day that I was in my grandmother's house before we had to get rid of the house. And it was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to put this into something to relay my emotion. I could have chosen guitar, but for some reason that day I wrote my first poem. And since then, it's like as soon as something happens, I need to get it out now because it's easier for me to capture it than it is to like wait a couple months and for me to try to get it at that point. That's probably just unique to me. But I very much appreciate everybody who is so good at accessing all those challenging points of their lives, months, years later. So yeah, just a couple quick things there.
One second. All right, so I have a final question for anybody, and then let's if anybody here wants to answer, we'll have everybody here that wants to answer at the same time. Then I don't have to push so many things. But the final question is for Laura too, and everybody who wants it, even if you weren't a reader, but you're here, because there are some people that people can't see there. You can't see me, but they're like over there and over there. It's kind of cool. Who is your favorite writer? And I'm going to extend it to your favorite artist or musician. And then I'll start with everybody. I don't have any art in here, but when I was 13, there's a band, The Used, and I'm sure some people know The Used. The guy cut his hair, which was I was like, oh no, he used to have long hair, and then he cut his hair. But anyway, on the album, and I used to collect the CDs, the little CD case, and the lyric booklet was in there, and I would listen to the CDs and I would read the lyrics. But this particular album by The Used, and I think it was In Love and Death. Was it that one? Yeah. There was artwork, and I was like, oh my gosh, this artwork is awesome. And it didn't look like the artwork that I've seen before. It was raw. It was some of it was gross. It was obscene. I'm like, this is cool shit. And I was 13. And then I looked up, and on the very back it said artwork by, and it said Alex Pardee, and that guy. And I went to his website, and there was more art, and there was poems. And at that point, I wasn't a writer. I hated speaking. I hated reading. And if you're in my classes, you hear all these stories. Although this semester they haven't heard the story yet, so don't turn it off. I'll tell you on Monday when I see. But I started reading the poems, and it wasn't the kind of poetry, and we kind of spoke about it today, but it wasn't the poetry that you read in school. It wasn't Shakespeare. It wasn't kind of the canon that they say. It wasn't all the stuff that they teach us. It was just normal. And it was talking about things that I kind of understood in the language that I understood. It was in my kind of vocabulary at the time. It was words I knew. And I started copying his work, stanza by stanza, the syllables, scanning. If you know what scansion is, it was a meter. beat all of it exactly the same, syllable by syllable, line by line, rhyme by rhyme, what this individual wrote until kind of my voice emerged. And so that's my favorite author, my favorite poet, my favorite painter is Alex Pardee. So everybody, whoever wants to answer, just run it, and then after that, I'll do all my closing remarks and everything. Laura, I'll give you a chance to say something at the very, very end if you want to get everyone to buy your stuff and follow you and all that cool stuff. But whoever wants to answer, go ahead. I am done. Wait, are we going in person first? All right, person first. All right, wait. Don't talk.
I would say, well, at this young age I am, I guess I would say a band that has been there like most of my whole life, even through the tragic moments. Gonna be a little open through a car accident I was in about like 5 years ago. I feel like a major band that was there through those hard times, through those difficult times, through those hard times, I would say it's kind of oldies, but the Beatles. I would say that because honestly, I like their play with words. And it's like, even with their play of words, it just makes me wonder and question, what are they going through? What are they thinking? What are they feeling when they're putting word by word, piece by piece, like metaphorically, or if you're using similes, like what are you like connecting that to? Like, Yes It Is, for example, that song. Or Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, like about like, I don't know, like some girl in the sky with actual diamonds. It just makes me wonder, like, and then it just makes me like go into a happier place, and then in just life, and then also connecting towards those tragic moments. Seriously, being in a serious more manner, when opening up towards that accident, the times that I had to relearn how to speak, eat, walk, do everything that I do now, or even sing, it just makes me feel like I owe a big like thank you, and a big, how do I say, just a big thank you to them, because I feel like they helped me like speak again through listening to their music. It helped me actually talk, like in speech therapy. That's what I had to go through. And then when I was younger, first word was from their song Hello Goodbye. So I feel like in general, I don't want to put it too long, but in the end, I feel like that would be my personal pick, because I feel like they have just been there through the highs and lows, and I know that 30 years from now it's going to be the same choice, same decision.
I just wanted to speak on that because I know that while you were in the hospital, they did music therapy with you. And that was a big thing that the doctors thought like really helped you rewire your brain because you had a music background. Yeah. And even though a lot happened, during that tragic accident, we're able to have you here. I'm just like so grateful to be able to witness your music and see you grow up. But yeah, like you were saying, when it comes to the Beatles, the similes and the word choice. And I mean, my favorite artist was Elliott Smith. Just growing up, as a high school student in college, just the way that he utilized just day-to-day experiences, but in such a poetic and like kind of dark, heavy, beautiful way. And it just allowed me to see that experiences could be reshaped, and just that people could relate to them. And just something as simple as drunken keys to the door, like I was like, yeah, I know how that feels. Where you could barely get your key in the keyhole, kind of thing. And just the way that certain sentences could really like stand out. Like, so for me, for sure, Elliott Smith was someone that was very influential, more like in my late teens, early 20s. And I honestly wish I could have said it was like a person of color, but Elliott Smith just happened to be the person that was it for me when I was, learning how to play guitar and do all that bit.
My favorite writer is me. Me. All right. No, but I don't. I think the first thing pop in my head too, besides me, is I'll say this playwright named Eugene O'Neill. I just read a long time ago. I read this book, A Long Day's Journey into the Night. His stage play, and this one powerful scene between the two brothers, which is pretty much inspired by my poem about men from the same womb. You know, when the older brother tells his younger brother to watch his back, and it's just drama of it, the heaviness, the drinking. That's really the family drama. That's really like capture me, and it helps me to just unravel everything with my writing. So yeah.
Just a quick, I don't know, like I want to say music because there was so much music important to me when I was a teenager. Like I loved, like Third Eye Blind was the first band I ever went to see live in person, and I have like connections with my family and all that stuff. But you know, there's some lyrics there that I can't identify with, like so. But I mean, writing wise, one of the first poets I got into that she's definitely one of my favorites is Edna St. Vincent Millay, and she, like, there's just this like heartbreak in her, but also reflection and appreciation, sentimentality, but then some more heartbreak and some more sort of devastation, and they're all very like short and to the point. And I connected with her probably the most when I was first starting out, I guess, my poetry journey. So I often, I guess, go back to her. So thanks.
Awesome. Okay, let me hold on. All right, let's see. Ernie, wait, I gotta turn on the speakers. Ernie, go ahead.
The thing is, I read so many people from so many countries that I have about 4 or 5 favorites that just knock me out. And some of them I read over and over again. So Virginia Woolf, who's still ahead of her time, To the Lighthouse. There's a book about homelessness in the 30s by a West Virginia guy about what he did to survive called Waiting for Nothing. It's under 150 pages. I've read it 8 times. Plus, I've had high school kids who never read anything, and they went gaga over this freaking book. It's amazing. And then 2 of the greatest poets of the 20th century, they had a similarity. One from Chile, Pablo Neruda, was a communist poet, and he also wrote some of the greatest love poems ever. And then a guy from Palestine named Mahmoud Darwish. And when he read at a reading, like 3,000 or 4,000 people would show up all over the Middle East. He's amazing. And short poems, long poems. So those 2 guys stand out. And there's a Black woman named Gwendolyn Brooks from Chicago. And she was all about Chicago, total community person. And she was the first Black writer to win the Pulitzer Prize. And these people, I could read these people over and over and over again. And then there's people from other countries, man. The whole magical realism movement from Latin America. You know that those guys? Maybe not, but you know, this postman is going to deliver mail and he's late, so he turns himself into a wolf so he can deliver the mail faster. Shit like that. I mean, that's like that's great stuff. A lot of good stuff. So much good stuff. And my friend Martinez Spada, he's Puerto Rican. He just won a National Book Award for a book of poetry called Floaters, about the immigration situation. He's been writing a long time, and he's like beautiful. He writes about immigration and stuff like that, bilingual sometimes, and yeah. So there's just a whole world out there, great stuff. And yeah, my wife loves Edna St. Vincent Millay, and Anne Sexton, if you're on the emo side of things. She was so emo, man. She makes like Nathaniel Hawthorne look like Pollyanna. Shit, yeah.
Thank you, Ernie.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? Laura, do you have any ideas? Rachel, D'Angela, everybody else on here? Give everybody an opportunity to say something.
I got mine ready. Hold on a sec.
All right.
I have a few, but I'm going to be quick. Angela Davis is my favorite political writer. I like Noam Chomsky a lot as well. Bukowski, favorite writer. Dead. Living. Shout out Nicolai Garcia, one of the best living LA poets. And I also want to shout out Daryl Gussin. He's also one of my favorite LA poets right now.
What's the last name?
Daryl Gussin. Gussin.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else before I go into all my cool ending stuff?
Yeah, I wanted to share my favorite writer is Roberto Bolaño from Chile, and he wrote The Savage Detectives and 2666.
Oh yeah.
He writes good stuff about traveling, about different characters. Like he knows so well the cities. Like he describes the name of the streets on Germany and stuff. He's just really good. He talks about communism and fascism. It's really good. One of my favorite musicians is Manu Chao from France. Like in the 90s, he went to Colombia, so he wrote an album like about Colombia and like about the guerrilla and about the oppression. He's really good musician. And my favorite artist definitely Salvador Dali. I think he really inspired my poetry because sometimes I write like painting, like different topics, different objects. So he really like his stuff is really surreal and amazing. He's one of my favorite.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. All right. So I always have a closing. Hopefully it's inspirational. Probably not. It's just like support us, follow our stuff, whatever. But thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for those who are on Zoom. Afterwards, when we're done, our Zoom will stay open when the live stream ends, so we can kind of hang out, debrief, relax, say hi, meet each other in a more casual way. But for all those who are watching now, for those who are watching later on in the future at the recording, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of our community. We are grateful for your eyes and ears. We are grateful for your hearts. We are grateful for your experiences and your lives and your voices. And I hope that in the future you always feel comfortable emailing, saying hello. If you need help writing, if you want to just come and hang out at the space, even if you just need to do homework in a space, then let me know. And you are always available to be here. And so please, this is the screen again. Connect with us, email, say hi, do all the stuff. I'm the person that's on the social media, and I promise I'm doing my best. Maybe I'm not, but say hello. We're doing the best we can. We could always say, but say hello, come to the space, read the work, submit your work, whatever it is, and let's say bye together, everybody. We will see you all next time. March 29th, 6:30. We have a lot of time to plan, to prepare. If you want to be the guest MC, just ask and it's yours. So thank you again, everyone. We'll see you in March. Everybody